Decisions, decisions, decisions. Decisions. Sometimes decisions can just work your nerves. When you were little, it was easy to make a decision. You want vanilla or chocolate for your ice cream? You want to wear that red dress today or the blue dress? What do you want to do? Do you want to wear some ponytails or you want a little bang? They weren't that complex. But, as you get older and life expands and you start working on projects and things and trying to make sure that things unfold in your life the way that you want them to, the decisions can become a little bit more complex. And sometimes we battle with trying to decide which is the right choice for myself, which is the right thing to do. And of course you can, reach out for a lifeline and you can just call a friend or family or a trusted mentor, someone that you confide in. As you move forward in making your decision between choice A and choice B, always keep in mind that even when you seek advice from other people, that their choices aren't your choices. Their life is not your life. So you still have to choose what's the right choice for you based on your life. Sometimes when you have a big decision to make and you don't know which choice to make because you don't want to choose the wrong thing, you don't want to make a mistake, and you don't want to feel like a failure. So sometimes you'll get caught in this cycle of not knowing which thing to choose. And sometimes that happens in life. But what I realize is that the cycle of being in limbo and not choosing, I wasn't getting anything accomplished. So it was not choosing, being in limbo, feeling stuck, and actually procrastinating because I felt like I couldn't choose. I didn't know which choice to make in the particular thing that I was deciding on. So it kept me in a bad cycle of just being stuck and not being productive. So you have to be really careful when you're trying to make a decision about something, to not get in that situation that I was in where I just didn't choose at all, because not choosing is worse than making what you might think is a bad choice. I ultimately ended up procrastinating, getting nowhere, and then I felt bad. So as time went on and I had not made a decision, I started feeling bad because I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't made any progress. Time is a ticking and I'm in the same position today as I was 30 days ago. And then I felt bad. And then I started feeling sad. And then I felt like, I just cannot move forward. I felt very stagnant. So you have to be very careful to not get so caught up in avoiding the wrong decision, because that could be a trap. That can trap you
into nothing.
Because I was getting nothing accomplished by being gripped with the fear of making the wrong decision. So let's talk about how to move ourselves forward and what helped me move myself forward in making the right decision for myself. And these are tools that I can use every time that I need, or every time that I'm faced with a difficult decision, and how to choose the right choice for me. So what did I do to help me get out of this space of stagnation and indecision? It was very difficult for me because I can even remember when I was younger, I did have trouble making decisions for myself. And I remember my mom used to always tell me, just make a decision already. What is the problem? Just make a decision already. You have a brain, use your brain. And I was like, well, Mom, I don't know. What do you think about this? Or what do you think? I'm trying to figure out. And she would say, use your brain. You have a brain. Use the brain that God gave you to figure it out for yourself. And of course, back then, that did not help me. That did not help me. All it did was frustrate me and make me upset. Like, I'm asking you your opinion, your advice. Could you please help me? Help me. But in the end, that was the best advice that she could have given me, to use my own noggin to figure it out, to figure out the best choice for myself. And this is something that you do want to do because someone can advise you, and sometimes there are people who can give you really great advice. But remember, their advice is based on their experiences, which may not necessarily be your experience if you choose whatever advice or selection that they may have chosen for you. It's still best to use your noggin, use the brain that God gave you to make the right choice for yourself. So what helped me ultimately get out of that space of stagnation and indecision, since I already had some issues with indecision in the past? Well, I had to go through the pros and cons. I did my research. So just to kind of help you out a bit, the issue that I was struggling with, the decision that I was grappled with and trying to figure out was which website platform to go with for my small business. So I have a new small business, and it was time for me to get a website up, and I needed to know which website platform to go with. So that meant I had to do some research. So starting with the pros and cons, I did my research to see what were the pluses and the minuses of these different website platforms, right? So that's something that you have to do for yourself. What are the pros and cons of choosing choice A versus choice B? And then once you go through those pros and cons, you need to worst case scenario it. You need to break it down to the worst case scenario. Okay, what's the worst thing that could happen if I choose A over B? Like, what's the worst thing? And then figure out or decide for yourself, can I live with that consequence? Can I live with the end result or the after effect for choosing choice A over choice B? And if you can't, then you can't choose A. That's just the way it is. You can't choose that because you have to be able to accept the decision that you make. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you choose A, that is the 10th commandment, and you can't later choose B if A doesn't work for you. It does not mean that. But what it means is if you're someone like myself who was so stuck and not wanting to make the wrong decision that I made no decision, then you really need to take that extra step and worst case scenario it for yourself to figure out, okay, can I live with that decision? You know, how will that impact me? So that's the third step, figuring out, will this decision that you make negatively impact not just yourself, but will it negatively impact someone else? How will it impact you? And it could be the reverse. Will this decision that you make positively impact you or positively impact someone else? So that's another thing to consider. And the fourth thing is, what is the outcome? What is the ultimate result that you want to get from making this particular choice? If you choose A, will it give you the result and the outcome that you want? If you choose B, will it give you the outcome and result that you want? And the fifth thing to consider is, how are you making this decision? Are you making this decision through emotion and how you feel about it? Or is it through logic? Is this something that you are thinking about? Like, this particular decision that you have to make for yourself, is this a decision of the heart and the emotion and the soul? Or is it a decision of intellect, of strategy? What type of decision is this that you're making? But regardless of the type of decision that it is, you still want to go through those steps of seeing what the pros and cons are after you've doing your research, writing out those pros and cons. How does this decision negatively or positively impact you and others? So, because we do want to consider how our choices will affect other people around us who are important to us or who may be affected by this decision. Now, that does not mean getting to a situation where you get stuck worrying about the impact on other people, because at the end of the day, you cannot please all the people all the time. But you do want to be considerate, especially if this is a decision that will affect others. So these are a few tips to consider when you're making the right decision for yourself. And these are things that I considered as I went through the process of making the right decision for myself myself where the website was concerned. So I did do my research. I weighed the pros and cons. I worst case scenarioed it. I looked at how would my choice affect other people in terms of not just myself and other people who may be a part of the business with me, but also the customers. How will my choice affect my customers based on the website that I choose, the website platform that I choose to go with? So I had to consider those things. And am I in my feelings about it? In terms of the aesthetics of it, how I want it to look. Marketing is important, but am I being too emotional about how it looks and how people will perceive me if I don't have the right look for the website? So that's an emotion, and I had to get out of that and had to think, with the business frame of mind and more of a marketing frame of mind, not so much personal frame of mind. In choosing that particular website platform. So you definitely want to keep that in mind as well. How are you making this decision? Is this an emotional decision or a decision that you're using critical thinking and judgment for? So after I went through that whole process, I still had a few decisions to make. It didn't just end there. I still had a few decisions to make. So I really had to get down to not just the worst case scenario, but what was the most pressing or most important thing that I wanted from the choice that I make. So you got to figure that out. What's the most important outcome that you want? What's the most pressing issue where this decision is concerned? This is helping you get down to the nitty gritty of it. What is the real pressing issue versus the worst case scenario? So once you fine tune that, then you'll get closer and closer to making the right decision for yourself. So how did I eventually, after I went through that process, how did I eventually get to the point where I was able to just make a decision? Pick already, just choose already, okay? I had to get very clear on what was of ultimate importance to me. I had to get very clear on that. Keep in mind that no matter what you choose, it will be the right choice for you. Because it's for you. Only you can make the right choice for yourself. And if you don't like that choice, guess what? Choose again. It's just that simple. Now, does that mean there's not repercussions? Of course there can be repercussions. That's why we're going through this process of worst case scenarioing it and the best outcomes and best results that we want. That's why we're going through this process to prevent, something that could be costly. I didn't want to waste money. So I'm like, well, I really need to figure out which website platform I want to go with, because even if I chose A and I didn't like it, I don't want to waste my money and have to choose B. So, that was a factor too, a cost factor. And the other factor is time. By not choosing, you end up wasting a lot of time. You are delaying and procrastinating a part of your life. So don't do that. Make a choice, make a decision. You have all those steps to get you to the point to fine tune it to that last little nook and cranny to decide, right? And then just say, you know what? This is it. Based on what I've outlined for myself, the outcome that I want, the results that I want, how it affects others, how it affects myself, this is a choice that I'm going with, right? And if I don't like it, and if it doesn't work, I get to choose again. The biggest takeaway that I want to share with you to help you make the right choice for yourself every time is a great piece of advice a mentor of mine shared with me many years ago. When your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So when he shared this with me, because at that time in my life, I was stuck trying to make the right decision and I did not know which way to go. So I asked my mentor, hey, I don't really know what to choose. I just don't know what to do. I was embarking on the next phase of my life, trying to decide at that time if I should move out of state as a young person fresh out of college. And so he said, and I discussed the pros and cons with him. And what he shared with me was, well, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. And of course, young me, who had trouble making decisions, was like, what? What? What are you talking about, man? Like, what? Help me. You're not helping me. You're just giving me a riddle. I don't know what you're talking about. But I wrote it down and I kept it with me and I recited what he said over and over until parts of it started to click. And I went back and I said, when my values are clear, my decisions are easy. I felt like I was in some Karate Kid movie, wax on, wax off type thing. I don't know. But it was the best piece of advice that has carried me the rest of my life so far. I've always gone back to that piece of advice to guide me in any big decision that I need to make. But I also had to figure it out for myself about what that means. Your values are what you live. Values drive your life. Values are what you live. Belief is more like something you think to be true or you might be in agreement with or you can accept as valid, legit. But the value is how you live. That's how you live. The value is the thing that's really important to you. The value is really intertwined with your consciousness of how you really are, how you really live. So here's an example. Let's take health and wellness, right? So you might believe in being healthy. You might believe in being healthy. You might believe that eating fruits and vegetables are good for your health. You might believe that going to the gym or exercising every day will improve your health. Now, that might be what you believe. However, you value convenience. How do I know you value convenience? You don't cook nothing healthy. You be at the dollar menu. You're at the dollar menu at McDonald's. You pulling up at Popeyes. You chopping it down at Chipotle. So just because you believe in fruits and vegetables and exercise, that ain't what you value. Because if you valued it, you will live it. Okay? So that's just one example of values versus beliefs. So you got to get real clear about what you value. You have to get real clear on what you value. So let me help you get clear on your values. And I'm not talking about what you believe is so different than what you value. Values are reflective of your life, of your real everyday life. Values reflect what you actually do, how you live, how you get it. That's what you value. So it's real easy to see the things you really value versus what you believe. Because you can believe all day, but that don't mean you value it. So his whole point was, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy. When you start valuing being healthy, you're not going to be pulling up to Popeyes. You're not going to be chopping down at Chipotle. You're not going to be in the dollar menu at McDonald's. You're not. You're going to go to the grocery store. You're going to get you some fruits and vegetables. You're going to start making you some salads. You're going to get you some workout clothes. You're going to go to the gym, or you're going to do your workout in your home. That's what you're going to do when your values shift. When that becomes your life, how you get down every day, that's when you start valuing it. That's when you value health and wellness. That's when you value being healthy, feeling healthy, and feeling great about who you are. When you start doing those meditations and you start doing your yoga, that's when you value it, because that's how you live. That's what you're living. You're living the thing that you actually value, that is of substance and of importance to you, that has worth to you, the thing that really is worthy to you, you're gonna live it. And that's how you get clear. So this is my biggest takeaway that I can share with you. When your values are clear, your decisions are easy. So you gotta get real clear and take a real close look at what you really value. And how that piece of advice helped me was I had to see that although I believed in being successful, having a great website, having a productive, successful business, I valued, oh, I can't because there was a part of me that was comfortable making excuses for myself as opposed to living the thing that I said I valued. So sometimes you have to take a real hard look at your life, an honest look at your life and your choices to determine, is this something that you believe or is this something that you value? Because in order to make that right choice, you have to be clear on what you value. Not about what you believe, but about what you value. And how do you know if you value it? Look at your life. How are you living? Because your life reflects everything that you value. Oh, you eating chips and soda? You not cooking no meals? You doing takeout all the time? You value convenience. You don't value health or wellness. And that's just the truth of it. That's just the truth of it. Because when you start valuing health or wellness, you're going to pull back on that stuff, on the quick, on the dollar menu. And you're going to start getting some fruits and vegetables in your life. And you're going to start exercising and all that good stuff, right? So that is my big takeaway for you. And I just want to thank you so much for hanging in there with me. I really hope that this information and these tools are helpful for you. I actually think that they will be if you put them to use. Just keep in mind, when your values are clear, your decisions are easy, but you got to get real clear and take a real close look at your life to see the things that you actually value. But get those values in line, and those decisions will be very, very easy. Very, very easy. How do you know that you are making the right choice for yourself? You know because no one else can make this choice for you. There are no wrongs. There are no rights. Whatever choice you decide for yourself is your choice. It is your choice. You have your own free will, your own free mind, your own little brain to make the choice that you want to make for yourself. You have the free will to do just that. So no matter what you choose for yourself, it's always going to be the right choice. And if you find that you don't like that choice, guess what? You have the free will to choose again. So thank you so much for tuning into my show, Joanna J Today, where I share with you what's going on in this world and what's going on with me. So I'm here to give you a few tips on how to make the right choice for yourself every time. Until next time, bye-bye.